Look, Raghav, you're like a really nice guy,
Oh, thanks.
but we need to talk about us.
What? That's crazy. I was gonna say the same thing.
Really?
Yeah. Hi, my name is Raghav, and today I want to talk about Us.
What?
Us is a 2019 American psychological horror thriller written, directed, and co-produced by professional Barack Obama impersonator Jordan Peele. Originally one half of the breakout comedy duo Key and Peele, this is Jordan Peele's second film as director after the tremendous success of the 2017 surprise hit Get Out.
That is not what I meant.
Now, I love horror films, especially the weirder the better. Unfortunately, a lot of recent horrors have just been formula following cash grabbing, time wasting garbage fires on film that are just a slog to sit through. A good, fresh, entertaining horror is so hard to come by, and I really treasure and appreciate them when I come across one. Some of the best horrors I've encountered in the recent years include The Witch, where I discovered the magnificent Anya Taylor-Joy, whose work I love to follow. M. Night Shyamalan's return to form with Split, which also had Anya Taylor-Joy alongside James McAvoy, although the impact of that one was kind of dulled by its weird and meandering successor Glass. And weirdly, Happy Death Day, which is more funny than scary, but still delivers a competent product. And I love that Groundhog Day is just a genre now.
Raghav, I want to talk about us.
We'll get to it, you eager beaver. I gotta give a bit of an introduction first.
Whatever. I literally can't even right now.
Anyway, Get Out was one of those movies. A breath of fresh air and tapping into very strong racial perspectives and fears that I could personally relate to. Plus, there was some powerful imagery that made the film all the scarier. Remember that scene where he sinks into the couch and then ends up in a void of nothingness, contemplating his own solitude and inevitable demise? Still gives me chills. Us stars Lupita Nyong'o and Winston Duke as Adelaide and Gabe Winston, who take a family vacation to a beach house, hoping to spend time with friends, only to be confronted by another family who looks exactly like them. Now, the doppelganger as a plot device for horror is not a new one. There have been many instances of people who look exactly alike, causing havoc in each other's lives. The Jesse Eisenberg starrer The Double, directed by Richard Ayoade, comes to mind, a particularly creepy movie based on the novella by Fyodor Dostoevsky. In this story, the doppelganger tries to assume the place of the original, as they do in most films, and he's slowly driven to the edge of his sanity. Fun fact, another word for doppelganger is twin stranger, which just sounds like a great horror movie title. Us was, in a word, disappointing. The film is completely devoid of any suspense. The opening scene basically gives away the whole premise of the film and makes the supposed twist in the end super duper obvious. And that's really the best word to describe what happens in the film. Obvious. It's all just so obvious. Every choice is obvious and not interesting. There's no element of surprise and the story is just so dumb. I'm sorry, but I just didn't enjoy this movie. Jordan Peele said that an inspiration for Us was the Twilight Zone episode Mirror Image, but I don't see any connection, and it's certainly not as good as a Twilight Zone episode. Even if we put the story aside, the film itself, the way it's presented, the way the character arcs progress, it's all just so boring. I couldn't bring myself to be interested in the events of the film one bit. Lupita Nyong'o, the lead of the film, starts the movie at 100 and simply does not let go of the accelerator, maintaining a weird and kind of annoying high tempo throughout the film, which eventually does make sense as the plot unfolds, but it sucks out any sense of build-up or tension in the film because everything is already in high gear as soon as the story starts. From what I can tell, the movie suffers from an attempt to make a good trailer rather than a good movie. The trailer gives us promises for suspense, drama, thrilling revelations, great storytelling, but in fact it's a boring, dull, dragged out mess and a real disappointment coming from Jordan Peele. So each character plays two versions of themselves, a good and evil version. There's simply no attempt to have any mystery about these people and where they come from. It's all laid out in the first act and honestly it does not help the film. It focuses too much on trying to give us thrills and scares and spends way too much time building up a scary visual rather than building up suspense or intrigue in the story. The cinematography of Mike Gulakis, whose previous work includes Glass, Split and It Follows, is competent, and there are a couple of standout shots, but it can't hold up this feeble story, and it's the downfall of this bore fest. Elisabeth Moss and Tim Heidecker play the friends of the family, and they're more interesting than the actual protagonists. They have conflicting personalities, strong dynamics, and that adds more entertainment to their scenes together, which makes us connect with them, and when horror stuff happens to them, it's all the more terrifying and unexpected. Cali and Noelle Sheldon as their twin daughters are also great, and they have some fun as well as creepy moments. Okay, I need to get into spoilers because there's way too much I need to talk about, and I have so many issues with this film. The big reveal at the end is that Lupita is actually the doppelganger, the two of them having switched when she was a child. And they try to leave hints of this when the doppelganger kids are being killed and Lupita shows empathy for them. But like, if she spent her whole life in the real world, then the real kids are the ones she gave birth to and not the doppelganger kids. So why would their deaths matter to her? The story has this weird problem with the exposition. It doesn't explain anything important, and what it does explain is not explained properly to make any sense. There's too much exposition, but none of it is the right exposition. And I'd rather they didn't explain anything at all and kept the film a lot more contained. I wish it was just a story about a family dealing with something really weird and creepy, rather than it being this worldwide event that who cares? Like, I don't care about this. And there are so many rules that aren't explained but also are just broken whenever if the doppelgangers are mirroring the lives of the real people in their parallel lives, then what happened that allowed them to stop doing that? And they're mirroring each other, but they also seem to act on their own whenever they feel like it. So what is stopping them from just doing whatever they want all the time? And like, what was her plan even? Like, she got all the doppelgangers to kill the originals because she said she wants to make a statement, but like, to whom? If everyone's dead, then who's gonna see the statement? It's like the story was very haphazardly written, and this was the first draft and no one logic checked it. There's so many weird and half-thought sequences in the film like this. For example, there's a bunch of weird, specific, surreal aspects in the film that have no consistency. Like, if there's a scene where the main character wins a new t-shirt and wears it, then the doppelganger underground also has the same shirt. But then when the real people eat food, apparently all the doppelgangers have to eat is rabbits. But if they can get t-shirts, why can't they get food? It's very selective and illogical. Now, I get that a lot of Jordan Peele's writing is allegorical and metaphorical, referencing colonialism, prejudice, marginalization, dehumanization of a whole people, and all that is fine, and I respect that and I support that, but your story has to be coherent, and above all, it has to be interesting. This was just boring from the get-go all the way to the end, and I didn't enjoy even a second of it. The only saving grace is the music by Michael Abels, who previously collaborated with Peele on Get Out. His score is haunting and has some great unusual flourishes that stand out, and he ties hip-hop songs very well into the horror aesthetic.
You know what? It's over. Bye!
But we ain't done until I thank them for watching and ask them to subscribe to my channel. I make new videos every other week. I know a lot of you probably enjoyed the film and want to disagree with me. So please leave me a comment so we can discuss this. Bye!